Welcome to Happy Place Aquatics, everybody. We've got a special guest in the house. Let's bring him up.
Where he's at? Bring him up. Where he at? Come on out. Who is this guy?
There he is. All right, sir. I will let you introduce yourself in case nobody knows who you are.
My name is Mike from Mike Loves Life. How you guys doing? I live in a basement like Schmeagol from Lord of the Rings. That's me. Mike Loves Life. Or Fishy Biz. Call me either one. It don't matter.
All
or
right.
Aquafunk.
So what's good, man?
Same old, same old. Everything's great, actually. I really can't complain about how my life is going right now. Everything is great. At this point in my life, it's all about fine-tuning everything. Everything. I don't have to create nothing. I just have to fine-tune everything. You know what I mean? But yeah, I have no complaints.
I get it. So, how long you been in the hobby, man?
Officially 24 years. I've been in and around. I took a little break when I became a motorcycle mechanic, but other than that break, I've been dealing with fish for going on 24 years. Yep. A lot of people don't know that. Yeah.
Well, I honestly, man, I really don't know much about you. Just what I've heard. It's all been,
terrible.
It's been mixed.
It's been terrible.
It's been mixed. Some people say, you like running around in a polka dotted pink thong. Some tell me
Who got that picture? I thought I had all those pictures taken down.
Oh, that's funny. No, man, like I said, I really don't know much about you other than what I've seen from your videos. I don't know the style of aquariums you keep. This is what this is for, so I can get to know you a little better. Tell us a little bit about what you keep and sizes.
All right, so right now I'm keeping a buttload of, well, not a buttload. I got 7 15-gallon nano tanks. I have a 40 tall with my flower horn, and I got a tank that I'm setting up right up there for a very special species. But I normally keep big fish. Well, when I say big fish, I'm talking about I like the Central American cichlids around the 8-inch range,
Okay.
And angels is my true passion, but I won't keep angels anymore until I can keep them different. I've done, as far as angels go, I've bred them. I've had all different types. I crossed them. I did wild caught. I've done rare. I've done all of that. Pay for breeding for profit, the whole nine. To be honest with you, the way I'm living in a small situation, I don't want to keep angels unless I could do something different. So I'm waiting to move. We're in a house buying circus. And once I do, I want to do a 300-gallon biotope angel wild caught, because that's something I've never done. But other than that, right now I'm really having a blast with these nano tanks because I'm being introduced to species that normally I would never mess with. I would never mess. These were all given to me by my sponsor, Consolidated Fish Farms, and so I figure, you know what? Let me downsize because my life was a little too hectic. So I downsized. I took down all my big tanks, went with all nanos. That way, when it's time for me to move, I don't have to ask anybody for help. I can just empty the water, put them in the back, and roll out and have it done like that. So basically, my whole life is in preparation to move right now.
Fair enough. If it is your birthday, happy birthday.
Thank you.
I might put it on the screen, so I'll figure out I would share it. Jamie likes your hat.
You like that? That's so if you don't know, this is the angelfish outline with a puzzle piece inside, and the puzzle pieces represent autism. My daughter, my youngest, Mia, my 5-year-old, is autistic. I'm not doing it for any special reason. Autism has become a huge part of my life. Like my whole household is like my oldest, my daughter, Levin, great sister to an autistic child. My old lady, banging mother to autistic. So autism kind of takes over the whole home. So I just incorporated autism into my logo because it's part of my life now.
I have a cousin by marriage who's autistic, and man, I'm gonna tell you what, she was a preemie from birth, so you know what I mean. She's been fighting her whole life, dude. She's an amazing individual.
You know, me and my old lady, we talk about, you know, the youngest Mia, and we always go like, if we had, because she's so awesome as she is now, right? She's like amazing in so many ways. We ask ourselves, you know, like if we had the opportunity, like if a genie came down and said you have wishes, would we wish for Mia not to have autism? And that's a tough question because we wouldn't want her to change. But at the same time, you know, it's like, oh man, that's a tough question because she's so awesome the way she is. It's weird. It's definitely definitely changed me in so many ways. Mia has, yeah. It's changed me. It changed my 11-year-old, changed my son, changed my old lady. It's a crazy thing.
They say a kid does that to a man in general, especially a daughter.
You know the saying, right? About daughters and fathers. It says when your son's brought into the world, you'd say, you hold that baby up, that little boy up, you say, I'd die for you. But when you have a daughter, you hold that baby up, I would kill for you. Like, so yeah, that's that. I heard that phrase. I'll never forget it. It was supposed to be funny, but yeah.
I have 0 kids, so I don't know that feeling, and never probably will experience it. Hopefully, I'm gonna knock on some wood because I'm too old for that shit.
Yeah, no, I'm done. The baby making factory is closed. At least I say that now. I wasn't expecting my 5-year-old, and she got sprung on us. So you never know.
Happens when you least expect it, I guess.
Although I do think inadvertently she caused me to be infertile because she seems to find that spot every time she jumps on me. And we was talking about the other day about vasectomies and stuff, and I was like, honestly, with as much as Mia jumps on me like she does and gets me right where, I don't know if I could have kids anymore.
It could be a good thing and a bad thing.
I don't know. All I know is about 5 times a day I'm in pain. At least 5 times a day.
Uh-oh.
What happened?
I don't know if my internet froze or yours, but it just went. You were frozen and the screen was pixelated.
Who's mine or yours?
Well, either mine. It was on my screen. My screen didn't change, but you were all pixelated, so maybe it was mine. I don't know.
Oh.
That's what I get for having that ghetto internet.
You got your neighbor's Wi-Fi?
Yeah. Oh, man. So, what kind of fish you got behind you there? I know you said nano fish, and we were talking before this. You were talking about Tetris. So
I'm not a fan of Tetris, to be honest with you. And I was hoping that getting these tanks, I would probably find a love for Tetris, but I really haven't. I really haven't. Man, there's so many different species. I have topaz cichlid. I got laser corridors. I got neons, which what I was doing a video on, which I'm be honest with you, I don't really like them. Colombians, gouramis. I found a love for gouramis that I didn't have before, and that's what I'm saying. Like I've been introduced to so many fish that I can actually have an opinion on. So look, I used to run pet stores. I've been manager of 3 LFSs, but this is different from selling them and keeping them for a week or 2 at a time and keeping them, long term. And I've sold all these fish. I could tell you all about them, but I don't like doing videos on fish that I haven't kept myself. So gouramis were a fish that never really, was kind of like, But my pearl scale gourami and my paradise gourami, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't really see me never having them ever again. Honestly, in some way, shape, or form, I'm gonna have paradise and pearl scales. I have a zebra tetra. A zebra acara, which I'm really loving him. I've also found love for Molly's, swordtails, those type of live bearers.
Okay.
I've always known that they were good as far as eating algae. I didn't really know how good they was. I mean, they eat a biofilm, algae, anything left on the bottom. I'm gonna do a video on how great of a cleanup crew they are. I've had them for my wild Altums. I had them as dither fish because they, you know, when they put the babies out, the wild Altums can kind of spread, you know, because they're wild, they're predators, right? They need to hunt something. So I use them for that reason only. But I've never kept them, you know. And barbs. I've always liked barbs. Whenever I would set up somebody's tank for whether it be, you know, they paid me or I was doing it as a charity type deal, I would always put barbs in there, but I've never kept myself. I happen to love barbs. Like I said, the live birds have kind of been, but other than that, what else am I keeping? Never really kept Corys. I got Corys. Coolie loaches. I'm not a big fan of coolie loaches. But yeah, that's pretty much it for right. I mean, I got other stuff, but I don't really want to. There's so many itty bitty little species running down the roster would be kind of you know.
I get it. I currently have about 55 Serpay tetras that I don't know what the hell to do with.
55.
Yeah.
What size tank?
Right now they're in a small little 20-gallon.
Yeah,
they're only about like that big.
I did a planted tank where I put a bunch of Serpay tetras in there, and to be honest with you, okay, so just to give you, like, I don't even know if this video is gonna come out because, like I said, I'm having problems downloading it, and I don't even really feel like the video. I'm not feeling all warm and fuzzy on it, but the video that I either am gonna put out or I'm gonna trash altogether is basically on people's expectation of nano fish. And that's primarily these neon tetras. You know, you get them thinking you're gonna see them school everywhere and do all that beautiful thing, but you don't think about, hey, you got a nano tank. They ain't nowhere for them to school. So, like, it's the expectations of the fish you buy and then where you're gonna put them. You know what I mean? Like, you want them to do that movement, that schooling movement, but you don't put them in a tank big enough to do it. It's kind of like, that's not quite what I wanted. But Serpays were kind of like that too. I know they're good at schooling, but if they're not,
very good.
Huh?
They're very good at schooling.
Yeah, you know, like think of that 50 Serpays you have in let's say a 75 or a 125. They would do that beautiful schooling movement that most people want from them. But you know, if you have them in a smaller tank, they don't, and it's kind of like wah wah wah. You know?
Yeah.
Get a bigger tank.
They're right now. They're in there just so they can put some size on before I put them in with anything else.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, "Oh, why don't you feed them to your Oscars?" I'm like, "Because I don't feed my Oscars live food. You know, they get frozen food."
I don't really mind the whole live food because that's what they would do in nature. The problem is you know, buying fish from the pet store, they're so full with illnesses and funguses. So, you know, if people said, hey, I feed mine live, but I breed them myself, I'm like, good job. Good on you, you know? Yeah. But I'm not one of the people who get kind of like, oh my God, it's alive. It's a living thing. I was like, yeah, that's what he would be doing if he was in the wild where he wants to be, really. He don't want to be in your tank. He wants to be out in the wild, but, you know.
So somebody wants to know what it is you like about angelfish.
I have no clue. I have no clue whatsoever. In fact, I didn't even really start keeping angelfish until the last 6 years. And I happen to believe that everybody has that one fish that is ideal for them. For instance, the way I keep my tanks, the way I like my temperature, the way I like my decorations, the way I like my filtration, the way I like my water flow, how often I feed, the way I personally like to do it happens to suit angelfish really, really, really well. Whereas some people, they like to do other things where maybe it's monster fish, that's their thing. Maybe it's you know, nano fish, but I don't know why. I actually, like I said, I didn't keep angels for the last 6 years because I always wanted to, but because I worked at pet stores, you know, in my early fish keeping years, I always saw things that kind of like, ooh, and I could get the red tail, and I could get this tiger shovel nose, and they kind of like pushed angels to the side. So when I stopped working on bikes, and I got a new tank, and I was like, okay, I'm getting back into fish again. I was like, let me just start out with a fish that I've always wanted, but I never could because I was too impulsive. And I did the angelfish, and like as soon as I got the angelfish, it was just breeding and growing and growing and breeding. And I couldn't stop it. I just so now I'm a big fan of angelfish, but because they just suit my nature. That's the best answer I can give you for that one.
It's a good answer.
Yeah.
You know, I got into the hobby because of two fish, and I currently have them both. But I was a sucker for the electric blue Acara.
I got one of those.
I am overran with electric blue Acara right now. And the Oscar.
Yeah.
So, and but the first big tank I set up had cichlids in it. Just Africans and bones.
I do love. I had a 40 breeder with a bunch of Mimbuna in it, and I don't think I'll ever keep Mimbuna anymore because they're just they stress me. They're too fast. They're too like I said, I used to sit next to my tank thinking I was gonna relax, but watching Mimbunas, you're in for a show, man. This thing's shooting all over the place. It's almost like your anxiety kind of got lifted up a little bit, and I was like, this is not relaxing at all. There's too much. It's like WWF wrestling up in there. So I the cage matches. So I had to leave the Mimbunas alone. I could do peacocks, but I don't think I'll ever do Mimbunas again because if you want action, that's the tank to get. A Mimbuna tank. There's color, action. They don't get super, super big. They're really good fish to keep, but they're not for me.
Yeah, I've got a 90-gallon full of them right now. Almost lost them today, man. That was a little bit scary.
Yeah.
When they all up at the top, man, that's yeah. So
yeah.
That's
so what you do? We talked a little bit before we got on, but it was you had a canister filter on there, right?
I did, still do.
Okay.
I took that canister completely apart and looked inside to see what was going on. It was dirty, but it was. I mean, I don't think it was dirty enough to cause an issue.
So what do you think caused it was ammonia spike? What do you think caused that? Yeah,
I don't know.
To do it. I did do it for my members only, and I let it. And I'm gonna go back to doing members only because most of the people that watch my videos don't watch it for the fish geeky stuff, but I do like being fish geeky, so I'll do like an interview like this right here, but not live. I'll do it pre-recorded just for my members only, where it's really fish geeky. And I need to do one with Fathom because we was talking and somebody said something about crashing. Tanks crash, no reason whatsoever. I don't know what happened. I've never known that to be a thing. True, at least in my life, I've never had a tank go like what you did and not be able to find there's something that went wrong. But you've heard of people being like, oh, my tank just crashed for no reason whatsoever. It happens. I was like, I don't know if it just randomly happens unless something happened, Yeah. So I'm always interested in what the problem was because I like doing the detective stuff, like, oh, okay, let's find out what the problem was. It was, the Mimbuna with the wrench in the library, It's just
I think it was mine in the laboratory. And they all shit at one time.
Overfeeding, dirty canister, which you do with African cichlids because you got a big tank, so you got to make sure everybody gets fed. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of canisters. Out of sight, out of mind, and I'll let mine go for a long time.
I gravel vacked it yesterday. I did I'm gonna say probably about a 75% water change yesterday. Nothing that nothing out of the normal. I do it every week.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing I've done differently that I didn't do before is I used a different water conditioner.
Bro, I had a beautiful breeding pair of high super red, super duper red angelfish that I had breeding for me. And I remember I bought dang on water conditioner from a yard sale. I'll never use water conditioner that I don't crack the seal on again because I don't know what happened, but damn near all my fish died. I used that water conditioner. That was the only thing I could think of. What you got there? Oh, you got the Fritz. Did you crack the bottle on it, or was it brand new when you opened it?
Brand new, I cracked it. That's the one I typically use, but when I did the water change today on it, I use Safe.
Now,
Seachem Safe.
now, yeah, there's a thing with I can't remember because I've never used Safe, but like if you overdo it, it's bad or something. Was that the Prime? I've never done it.
You can overdose on both of them.
Yeah, I've never done it before, but I've heard of people doing it. It has some type of reaction. I can't remember what it is. I know Safe is very concentrated, so that's why I've never messed with it because I was like, I don't want to do math. I just want to change my water. I don't want to do all that math.
I typically use the Fritz. It works. But when I did it today, I used that, and right now I'm looking over there. These dudes are swimming happy as they can be. So, the one thing that I have actually heard of is old tank syndrome.
I changed my tanks too much for that to happen, but I've heard of it.
That one hasn't been changed in quite a while.
Yeah,
that tank's been up and running for 2 years now.
Exactly the way it's been. I don't have that self-control.
Exactly the way it is. It's got different fish in it, but that's it.
Yeah. So I change stuff out. Like I get bored and I fiddle. Say, hey, I wonder how this works. I wonder if I do this, will it be better? I'm always fiddling with stuff. So I've never could say I've had a tank untouched for 2 years. I'm actually impressed when people tell me that because I just don't have that in me. I got to get in there somehow. That's one reason why I'm not a big Planet tank guy. Although I do have plants in these tanks, I wouldn't call myself a Planet tank guy at all. I have no idea what these plants are. I throw them in there. Whatever don't die stays. That's pretty much. What is it? Aquatic. I don't know what type of plant it is, man. I put it in and it didn't die, so it looks good.
Yeah. What is it? Yes, that's what it is. Yes, that's what it is.
What type of plant is that? It's aquatic plant. I don't know how to tell you. It was cheap. That's another thing. Cheap.
I am going to do. I've got 2 tanks coming. I've started on. I've already built the stand for it. Got a video out on the stand. I got to clean, reseal, and paint the stand, like the actual frames of the tanks, because I don't like the brown wood look. I want them to be black.
What do you? Oh, the stand. You don't like the brown. Natural. Oh yeah, those are some. I don't even know if they make those anymore.
90s.
Yeah, they do them for 90s.
90s, yeah, 90. That's a 94.
I've never seen a new tank that had the. It used to be because like I said, it's been a while. They used to call them oak was the dark. No, sorry, walnut was the dark brown trim, and oak was the light brown trim. And I remember those were the 3 that you can get: oak, walnut, black. And at one time they called it red something, but it was a red trim, red wood grain. They always reminded me of those old those cars with the station wagons. Station wagons with the wood paneling. Yeah, it had that. That's what they reminded me of.
So what other hobbies you got other than fish keeping?
You know what? I would actually call editing a hobby because even if it wasn't, I do enjoy editing, the creating of a video. But I used to really be big into making bikes. Like I said, I used to be a Harley mechanic, but I never owned a Harley. I would always get like Honda CB750s, like the later models. I mean, the earlier models, like the late 70s, early 80s, and turning them into cafe racers, and, or even the crotch rockets. I turned them into naked bikes, the European style bikes. I like that. So bike building is also a passion of mine, but I don't do that anymore because I just don't have the space. You know, I'm one of them guys where I need to have my whole garage and my whole setup. I don't like pulling out tools every single time from the closet. Got to pull this out, taking it outside, so I don't do it. But bike building would be my other passion.
Yeah, I'm an automotive mechanic, so I understand that.
Yeah, I never could deal with cars. I guess I'm lazy, and climbing around. You gotta climb underneath a car, then to do everything, you gotta jack it up, bring it down, jack it up, bring it down. The motorcycle, you put it on top of your lift and raise the lift up and everything is right there and easy to get. You can sit down the whole time. I like the access a bike has. You know.
You got to have tiny hands to work on these new cars too, man, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, bro. I remember I had to change out radiator to my caddy, and I was like, man, this is just you have to have too many specialty tools to get all up in there and all that stuff, and it was a pain.
Yeah, they don't make them like they used to. They don't make them like they used to.
Everything's stacked on top of each other. Everything's all piled up.
Everything's electronic now, man.
Yeah, I need to get one of those electronic doodads where you diagnostic things where you can plug into your car.
Yeah. And I got a cheap one. I got a cheap one from Harbor Freight, dude. It was like $70. That
Does
thing is honestly, oh hell yeah! I've had it for 5 or 6 years now.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that. Because my old lady started doing the Uber, and I'm like, oh man, things are gonna start going wrong.
Things are gonna start breaking.
Things are gonna start breaking down. So yeah. And
what does she drive?
The Kia Soul.
Oh shit! She got the hamsters in there with her.
Well, I always thought that was a different car. I always thought that was like a different one, a Honda or something that had the hamsters.
That was the Kia Soul's dancing inside of it with the lights around the speakers going.
Yeah, I call it the Mighty Soul. I actually like the car. I really do. I like the car. I'm not going to be mad at it. Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
I'm a fan of the Honda, man.
You know what? Here's the thing, man. Even as a motorcycle mechanic, Honda's is just a good company to buy from. I'm sorry, it's an ongoing joke, you know, amongst car people and motorcycle people that I've met too. Is like, if you had to write down every time you've seen a broken down vehicle on the side, the Honda list would be a lot smaller than the other ones, you know. Yeah, they're just a good, like even I said, the Honda CB750s, the late 70s, you add oil, put new spark plugs, spray out the carburetor, and put a new battery, and you're on the road, you know. At least motorcycle wise, I could say that. But yeah, they're good. They're good machines.
As a mechanic, I see more Fords, Chevys, and Jeeps than I do Honda and Toyotas.
Yeah, it's motorcycles, Harleys. Harleys broke down.
Yeah, I've dabbled into the world of working on a Harley because my father-in-law owns one, and he's too cheap to pay anybody to work on it.
Yeah, what year is it? Old? Is it a carbureted?
Newer one. It's like a 13, I think, or 14.
Yeah, dude. Other than outside body work, yeah. Other than, you know, like brakes and just everything else, that's electronic too. The whole damn thing, you know.
Yeah. I don't know, man. He's getting too old to ride it, so he's gonna end up selling it.
I always thought it was funny when the people would come in to Harley because it never failed. The older they are, the bigger the bike got. And there's, you know how many times I used to have to run and pick up a bike because now, mind you, I'm not saying every old person, but you know, sometimes you throw your leg over these bikes like, you know, these road glides and all that, and you kick it off the kickstand and you don't have the power, and they just fall over the other side. I was like, man, why don't you get a Sportster or some Dyna or something? Go smaller. Like, that's a whole lot of weight for you to be, you know, trying to shift over.
Get a little Shadow or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the first bike I ever totally tore down and rebuilt and customized was a Honda Shadow. I love that bike. I wish I never got rid of it. A little 600 Honda Shadow, man. That thing, they called it the Angry Bee. Yeah,
I had a CBR. I got rid of it.
Yeah, CBR is a good one. Real good one.
I call myself doing 150 plus on the highway. I'm like, nah, it's time to go.
Yeah. I did build this one bike for a guy. It was he basically, okay, so when you work for Harley, they have a catalog for, it says these parts are designed for drag strip only. Wink, wink. But they'll sell it to anybody. You know, they'll sell it to anybody. So this one guy brought a V-Ride, and he went into the catalog, and it was called the Destroyer series, basically, all Destroyer. And he had bought every single thing. I mean, I increased the cylinders, the compression, the whole nine, the computer, every single thing. I even messed with the gearing, the sprocket sizes, for the drag strip. And I had to give it a test ride, and I had to wait because it was in the wintertime, and there would always be black ice in Virginia and on the roads. And I remember I took this out when I eventually did take it out, and I cracked that throttle, and I almost, if I wasn't holding on, I'd be in the street and that bike would have kept going. I was on that test ride for a good 3 minutes. I brought it back. I said, I don't even need it. This thing is designed to be on the racetrack. I shouldn't be riding this on the roads.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I get it.
I cracked that throttle. If I was, my whole body slipped all the way to. I was on top of the rear fender, sitting on the rear fender. It's ridiculous.
Man, when I was blowing past people, it just wasn't a good time for me. So I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm like, I'm going to get off the highway. I'm going to sell this thing. I literally sold it the next day.
There used to be a bike called, and they came out with a remake of it. It was basically an exact replica, except they made chain drive. No, they didn't make it shaft driven. It's called the VMAX. They called it the Widowmaker. And I had one of our mechanics used to drive Top Fuel drag bikes, and he actually drove that into a wall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I mean, he was an experienced drag racer, and he cracked the throttle on a V-Rod and was not expecting that a stock bike would do what it did and crash it into a wall. VMAX, Yamaha.
My boss's girlfriend's son has had a drag racing place up here. It's called Dragway 42.
Uh-huh.
He is currently running his bike tonight. He's on his third pass. I just got the second video. So he's out running some things, which is pretty cool. 19-year-old kid, man.
I did like the dirt track racing. I did like that because of how many modifications have to be done, because being a dirt track, you got different suspension, different tires, different gearing and all that stuff. I did like that. I like watching the mountain climbers too. The people right up the mountains, and I could watch that all day.
I like it when they flip backwards. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Isle of Man. I think that's on my bucket list. I always want to go to Isle of Man and watch those guys run those bikes. They kind of just it's on regular roads. These guys get on these crotch rockets, and the whole town kind of shuts down and lets these bikes just race. And they go around whatever turn is there, whatever country turn, that's where they're going at top speeds.
I want to do Pikes Peak.
I'm not sure of that one. I've heard of it. Oh, okay.
It's pretty high. A lot of people don't make it up there.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't make it back either.
In Virginia, everybody always talked about the tail of the dragon. The tail of the dragon.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Not a fan. I'm more of a straight line kind of guy. I want you to run what you brung. I want to see what kind of nuts you have from light to light.
Yeah. I like the mechanic part of it too. I don't go to a lot of car shows, but when I do, I'm really like amazed when their hoods are open. I'm just looking like, like, oh snap. Look at that. Look at that. That's the gearhead of me though.
Absolutely. We have a show here called the Piston Power Show. And there was a old Mercedes, like you've seen the movie Roadhouse, right? The original one?
A long time ago, yeah. I don't remember too much about it.
Everybody remembers the Mercedes from it. It's a 2-door SLK. A guy took it, yanked the original driveline out of it, put a 2JZ out of a Supra in it. This thing is stupid. It's beautiful. Big, huge turbo. I mean, I'd like to drive this car. That's my dream. Let me drive it for a minute. My goal is to hit 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, see, the only time I don't know how fast kilometers is, but I remember when I was in the army stationed in Germany, one of my soldiers had to go on emergency leave, and we had to make a flight. So I had to drive him from Schweinfurt, where I lived, all the way to Würzburg, and I had a little Volkswagen Passat, right? And I learned how to drive stick in that, which was crazy because Germany is very hilly where I was, and I was backing everywhere I went. If it was a hill, it was too steep. Skirt! But I don't know how fast I was going, but the needle was just like bing, 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 and I had sunglasses on. I looked cool. This is back when I smoked, and I had a cigarette in my hand. I had my arm out like this with my sunglasses, and I was thinking, I must look cool as hell. But if you took my sunglasses off like this, I was falling back. I was going so fast on that Autobahn, but I was scared. I was like, "Ooh, just one flat tire and we're dead. We're just dead. We're so dead." But we made it there.
I've been to 175 is top speed I've been.
I don't know. All I know is I never want to drive that fast again, though. I know that.
In a raggedy ass 86 IROC that was souped up.
IROC Z, wasn't that like a big Italian thing? I remember when I was a kid, I had a little IROC Z little fake pleather jacket with a logo IROC Z and stuff like that. And everybody was like, "Oh, that's an Italian car. The Italians love that car." Was that a thing for Italians back in the day?
I don't know. It's possible.
I don't know.
I was not a fan of the car, but it was fast. It was fast. Mm. I got close. The closest I got to it the second time was in my Mustang, but yeah, that's a different time. That was one of those ones I got a little inebriated, lost control of it, and hit a telephone pole sideways and destroyed it.
Never. When it came to stuff like that, if I even had one drink, I was like, nope, I'm not driving. You know, I just always was. Maybe I'm the worry wart. You know what I'm afraid of? I'm afraid of dying a ridiculous death. Out of all the stuff I did in my life where I should have legitimately died, like a really cool death, never have. I'm afraid of dying ridiculous death. You know,
sitting on the toilet, taking a shit, have a heart attack.
Yes.
Somebody sees you with your Peter in your hand or something.
Oh,
you know what
my God, you got a crappy ass, and somebody got to wipe your butt now. Like, that's what I'm afraid of. If I die, I want to go out like big, like, oh, like, you saw what he did, and that was, he didn't make it, but he gave it a shot. That's what I want to die. I don't want to die like, oh yeah, because like I used to do AC work, and we worked for a commercial company, and the owner at the time would not replace the ladders. And I remember having an argument when he was like, man, I'm not going up that ladder. You need to get me a better ladder because these ladders suck. And I'm telling you, I was always afraid of dying from falling off a ladder because I was like, that's a stupid way to die. That's just so dumb. With all the stuff I've done in my life, I died from falling off a freaking ladder. Yeah.
I rode a 40-foot ladder to the ground, man.
Nah, see that. Did you land on the ladder? The ladder land on you? What happened?
I jumped off about 10 feet from the ground into some bushes.
Oh, well.
I got lucky.
You probably had a whole lot of cuts from them bushes, though. I met somebody. Huh?
I was tore up.
I met a guy who was drunk who fell out of the third story into a bunch of bushes. I was actually, when I was in the Army, we had a fire watch, and we saw this. It was in Germany, so he came in drunk as hell. And I came up, and he walked to his room drunk as hell. And he went into his room. Didn't think nothing of it. Half an hour later, he comes up again. He starts walking to his room, and you're like, hold on, wait, I didn't see him leave. But on his back, he's got sticks and leaves and blood and all that. We're like, hey, hold on, wait. What happened to you? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, where you get all these? We walk to his room, his window's open. Be like, bro, did you really fall out your damn window? Sure enough. And they said if it wasn't for the fact that if he was sober, he would have died because his body would have ridged up. But because he was all floppy-oppy, when he landed those bushes, it saved his life. Yeah, he ended up getting kicked out of the Army for that one.
What you were in the Army?
Yeah, I was in the infantry.
How long were you in?
Under 5 years. I signed up for 4. I signed up for 4, but I had to extend because I had to bring my wife out to Germany. I was married at the time. They don't want you. They need you to do a full 4 years at least. So Yeah.
I got a nephew who's in the Marine Corps.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna be like a lifer. I'm pretty sure of that.
There's times where I wish I was a lifer. I lie to you not. I really enjoyed the Army. It to this day that was a very impactful 5 years. Um, a lot of the way I think now is molded from the Army. So I do have a lot of issues with stuff. Not bad. I'm not saying, oh, I got PS, PTSD, nothing like that. But my tolerance for stupidity is very low. I end up calling it out because I can't. When I see something, I say something. It's just that simple.
Where'd you grow up at?
All right, so I was born in Brooklyn. Lived there till about 12. Then grew up like I consider Virginia my home because that's where I learned how to be a man. That's where I was out in the streets, getting in trouble, learning about life and all that. So I consider Virginia my home, but I'm very much a Brooklyn boy. But Virginia is my home. But now I'm in Florida. But I've been all over the East Coast.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody had a question. Said, "What would your one dream car be?"
Shoot, my one dream car. Honestly, I've never been a big car guy, but one car that I've always fantasized about my whole life, growing up to now, would be B.A. Baracus's van. I would love to have a van so I could like go out and take the weekend to a park, with my family, and we'll have the van set up to be able to stay 2 nights. Honestly, that's. Well, not necessarily that much, like not as I've seen some people really deck their vans out, but something like that, like the B.A. Baracus van from the 18.
That's a good looking van. I ain't gonna lie.
But it has to have the sliding door, not the ones that open up. I want the sliding door.
Yeah, those are lame. The ones that open up are lame.
Yeah, just for the nostalgia. I remember opening it up and closing it. When you close it, you felt very like you felt like kaboom, and it would slide shut and make a big boom, and you'd be like, yes. Now the ones is like bleep, blop, it's kind of like ugh. But yeah, I want the B.A. Baracus van. Definitely.
J Rock wants to know what's your 1, 5, and 10-year goal.
One goal, my 1-year goal by the end of the year, I want to be moved into a house. 5 years, I want to be self-employed and financial. You know what I mean? Like making my own money, not having to work for somebody else. 10 years, let me see, I'll be 50. 10 years, I really haven't thought out. I mean, 5 years kind of just sets the stage for 10. Once the sell, then. But yeah, I don't have really a 10. I really want to continue my 5-year out for the rest of my life.
My 1, 5, and 10 is not to die.
I don't know. I've never been scared of death. Like
I'm not afraid of it. I just don't want to.
I wouldn't say I want to die. You know what I mean? But that's always like.
I'm not afraid of it. It's gonna happen. Nothing I can do is gonna change it.
Yeah, I've had a lot of near-death experiences, like extremely near. Like, oh shit! Like, how are you still here?
4 of them.
Huh?
I've had 4 of them.
Yeah, and I've always been all right with it. I guess the only thing I'd add to that 1, 5 and all that is within that 1 to 5 year range, or even the 10-year. I guess the 10-year, anything after 5 into the 10 years is to have something to give to my have something substantial. You know what I mean? Something that'll really set my kids for the rest of their life. You know what I mean? That's the only thing about death that is me not being here to take care of anything my family might need. That's the only part of death that I'm worried about. That's really the only thing that keeps me going. Without my family, I'd live in a tent somewhere. I don't know, off grid.
That's me. I want to be in the
You
middle
know?
of, I mean, the middle of nowhere away from everybody.
Yeah, yeah. I'd be somewhere on my own plot of land, off grid, doing something silly.
Fishing, running around naked, all that kind of shit.
I do that now. Keep getting in trouble.
Yeah. I was sitting there, watching a movie, eating some ice cream and some Doritos naked in the recliner. The cop at Walmart called the police on me. You know what I mean?
I know, right? Like you was minding your own business.
I know.
It's supposed to be America, land of the free.
What's your favorite fish you currently own, and what is it named?
I don't name my fish. But the fish right now, I'm gonna give you by what fish I currently like this week. Because
Okay.
doing all these fish right now, honestly, like I said, they all kind of take turns. Let me see. This week, it's probably my topaz cichlid. Because she just started. I had to move my electric blue Acara, because she's starting to come into a spot where she's not really wanting to. So I can really like look at her and see her do stuff. Like she's starting to be more personal, like show her personality. But right now is my blue topaz. Her colors are coming out. She's acting more feisty. So I spent a lot of time staring at her. That's one of the other good things about having all these tanks is that, next week I'll look at some other fish that kind of really gets me, going. But right now it's got to be my blue topaz cichlid, blue-eyed topaz.
I understand.
Mm.
So I have a lot of fish. I really do.
Mm.
I'm like 35 tanks, probably 600 plus fish. Right now, my flavor of the week has been the same for, I don't know, a couple months now. I'm actually in love with the natural blue Acara that I have.
Oh my goodness, those are beautiful. Yeah, I can't even find them no more.
Man,
The electric blues have taken over so much that nobody even thinks about ordering regular blues.
I have the regular blues. I got a tank of them. Man, I have fought tooth and nail to keep these bastards alive. They got a really bad case of ick. I mean, real bad, man. I got a trick to that. So people were going to look at me and think I'm weird, man, but I will tell you, they're in a 75-gallon tank. I dropped it down to maybe there was 25 gallons in it.
Yeah.
And I probably
save money.
I probably put enough salt in there for 150 gallons. And I let those fish swim around it until they start going like half-ass sideways. And I start giving them fresh water, dude. I am not lying. 2 days later, they were completely clear.
Yeah.
Did another water change, gravel back to substrate, treated them again. And then they're perfect.
That's another plus about having small tanks is the money you spend on trying to treat a fish. Like, okay, you have one fish that has ick in a tank. Are you going to just remove that one fish? Because you probably have ick all through your tank. So you got to treat the whole damn tank, So having these small tanks, you save money. If you go the chemical route, you save money on the chemical route.
That's why, you know what? Everybody rushes out and buys aquarium salt. Aquarium salt's all fun and good, you know what I mean? But technically, I buy the Morton's water softener crystals. It's the same shit.
See, I wish I knew more about that because I was like, what's the difference? And I could never get an answer for somebody. So I'll use Epsom salt, but that's not the same thing. You could use, I have, in fact, what I use instead of the aquarium salt, when I have salt issues, I use a marine salt. Because that does pretty well. And you get big bags of it. But the aquarium rock salt, I was like, what's the difference between this and the salt that you use for your home?
Yeah, it's no different. I mean, I wouldn't use the salt you're going to throw out on a driveway if you got snow.
Oh,
but
no.
The water softener crystals is salt. It's pure salt. Newburn actually watched me do that with those fish. He was on the phone with me. We were doing a video chat, and he was like, "What are you doing?" I said, "Aquarium salt." Well, not technically aquarium salt, but I'm like, I'm salting these bastards. Watch. Dude, they start going sideways, man. You think they're going to die, and you just hit them with fresh water, and they come out of it. And they shed every bit of the crap that's on them. So. But I do have some fish that I am actually afraid to just look at too much. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Back in the day, I don't know, it's about 2 years ago, I bought 11 Walrus, if you know what a Walrus are. I bought 11 of them. And we know they're pricey. They were doing fine for 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden they had spots on them which looked like ick. I treated them for ick. Sped it up. All 11 of them gone. So I have some now that I just don't even look at. Like literally, I will walk by them, just take a peek, and walk away.
I've never had Walrus. It's not that I've never had access to them. It's just I don't know.
They're
This is
ugly.
never. I just yeah. They never did it. Like I never was like, ooh, I gotta have that. Now a fish that I always think looks similar in the face that I've always would want that I've never really had a chance to keep for whatever reason is the true peacock. For some reason, it has the same look in the face.
Yeah.
You know, that the slope and the eyes and stuff like that. I wouldn't mind having peacocks, the true peacocks. You know, but
you know what? There's 3 fish that that feed their young off of their slime coat. It's the discus, the Walrus, and I the third one always escapes me. I know what it is. I'll know it if I see it, but it escapes me. But for some reason, man, you see the Walrus full grown, you see that, you know, like that olive color on them, the black on the side and the red eye, and I'm like, that's an interesting looking fish, but they're real cool when they're juveniles. They got spots on them.
Try to think of that fish too that you mentioned because I do know there's a third one. I can't for the life of me
think it's like something chromis.
Yeah, I don't know. And it's funny because the fish you're talking about, I just learned about it probably about 3 months ago, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that. But I remember thinking that I wasn't interested in the fish at all, but I didn't know that.
Yeah,
you know.
I just got into the Denison barbs. I got a couple of those.
Those are nice.
I got 2 of them at the moment. I had 4. One jumped out, one died 2 days later, and the other 2 are mixed in with some baby Acara.
Now, did you get those regular ones? Because I've seen the problem with those is I've seen like I did a fish store tour at one of the fish stores in Tampa a couple years ago, and he had leucistic albinos. They were leucistic and albino, and they look so cool. I really like fish that have different patterns than them, you know, like within themselves. That's one thing I like about angels, by the way, is they, you know, when you have ones with patterns, they all have different patterns. But you know, they had different patterning. The leucistic albinos had different patterning. But those are expensive. At least they was when I asked them how much they were crazy expensive. And I was like, yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Animal.
He just wants to hear me say, bend that ass over. Let that coochie breathe. No, J-Rock, it wasn't Epicillus. It actually was. I actually saved a fish. I got a friend who is a scientist.
Why you put that in quotation marks?
Is technically not a scientist, but is a nerd enough to be able to determine different things. And it was actually velvet that killed them all. I was sad. I was like, I could have treated that completely different.
Yeah.
You can treat velvet with copper.
I'm lucky I'm not good at medications with fish because I'm lucky. Like people's like, oh, you're conceited. I'm not conceited at all. But when I tell people I really don't have a problem with sick fish, I've just been lucky where I don't really have issues with sick fish. And I'm very picky I get my fish at the same places. And I don't want to come off as being cocky about like, yeah, I keep my fish so good they never get sick. No, I'm just lucky. I'm just very, very lucky. So people will ask me questions about sick fish, and I'm like, hey, ask somebody else because I don't know. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I get it. I've befriended a local fish store owner. Me and him are pretty close. So I get the hookup. I usually end up with shit he can't sell. Like I'll end up with a whole tank of fish because nobody wants them.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with fish store owners that you become friends with, because they always give you fish. Like you said, you got fish like he gives you fish you don't want. The reason why is because they probably came back 2 or 3 times from selling them to some other people. I had a planted dirted tank. It was dirted planted tank, and I had Jack Dempsey's in there, right? And they looked fine. They didn't really cause no trouble. A friend of mine gave me a Hapalo cichlid. He consolidated. The guy I worked for. He was like, "Here, take this." I was like, "No, take." And after the 3rd time, I go, "Okay." And I brought it. I put it in the tank, and he just dug up everything in that tank because there was this little detritus worms growing everywhere. And once he found out they was in there, he dug up the tank. It looked like a toilet bowl. It looked like a toilet bowl that's just like at a arena. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Thanks for swinging by, Berto. I get it, man. But you know the oh, excuse me. That's where I got the survey tetras from. He ordered them and they came in, and they sent him the wrong size.
Oh,
so
man.
he contacts them. They told him, "Well, we'll refund you for them, but we'll send you new ones, but we don't want those ones back." He's like, "How am I going to do with 300 Serpay tetras?"
Sale. We got a sale running on Serpay tetras.
He walks over to me, hands me the bag. He said, "They're yours." I'm like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
But no, I get it.
Those Serpays will look good in a big planted tank, schooling together and all that.
I was going to put them in my 29 that I have that's planted. But I got a betta in there, and I've heard that Serpays are fin nippers. So I did not put them in there.
What's the rule? I think the rule on fin nipper fish is if you have a bunch of them, they're not fin nippers anymore. I had those Serpays I was telling you about in the tank with angels. I never had a problem with it, and it wasn't a lot. It was a handful, but I didn't have a problem with it because it was Jack Dempsey's and angels in there. I was worried about that at first, but I was like, let me give it a shot.
I have not. I've got Severums, but never mouthboarding. I actually have Severum fry at the moment. So
mouth brooding Severums.
Yeah. That's a new one.
The only thing I've ever kept that were mouth brooding were geos. I mean, I've kept Africans and stuff like that, but none of them ever bred. Well, they did, but I never cared. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't pull them out. They were just there. Like when I had them in Boona, they would do there all the time. I've had peacocks, but they were all males. I think there was like a female 1 and 2 in there, but I think I got rid of them to get something with more color. But the only thing that was really, really mouth brooding was the geos that I've ever had.
What kind of geos?
And I've had all of them over the years. I've had all of them over the years.
Have you ever kept Jurapari?
Yeah, I love those. Those are really cool. There's 2 types. I've had the Geopari, and that Geopari. I was talking about Mike Loves Life, and the reason why is because I just watched a video of his not too long ago, and he got a bunch of pearl cichlids or pearl geos, the Brilliensis, and those fish are very aggressive for a geo. And I remember I had a Geopari and the Brilliensis, and they used to always fight all the time. The Santurums,
yes,
always fighting. And it was always the pearl cichlid's fault. He always would start mess. He started mess with Firemouth, Jack Dempsey, the geos. I had a couple of geos in there. He would always just be a prick. Prettiest fish in the world, though. One of the prettiest is very a full-grown Brilliensis. Beautiful fish, but it was so mean.
Man, I've got a red jewel cichlid, the dwarf cichlid. That fish is an asshole.
Yeah.
I mean, that is probably one of the meanest fish I have. And I've got jaguar. I've got freaking, Oscar.
But when they're in color mode, they're breeding mode, and they color up.
Oh yeah.
It's like someone stuck a light up their butt. They're just so blood
They just
red.
break.
They're
Yes.
just pretty with the blue speckling. Is it a turquoise or is it a regular jewel?
Regular jewel.
Yeah, those the oh, and then they had the blue iridescence to they. I wish they were. I wish they got bigger. It'd be cool if they get bigger. You know, that would
Yes.
be like, what would you do with a fish like that?
I don't know,
that,
man.
that red. That's how come one of my bucket list fish is those red Texas cichlids, the hybrids.
Yes.
I've always wanted one, but I can't bring myself to spend that type of money on a fish.
I've got 2 more fish that I want to get, and they're both saltwater.
What is
One I've got on the way is a lionfish, and the other one is I want those big-eyed squirrel fish.
it? They look crazy. They
They're
look
crazy.
crazy as hell. They look funny. They look really, really weird. No, my bucket list saltwater fish would be a queen trigger, and I gotta get my tank. Like once I move into a new house, I just tore down my little nano tank, saltwater tank, because it just bored the hell out of me. But I want to get my queen trigger. I want to get a big old tank with a queen trigger in there, and I want to get another tank with a dwarf fuzzy lionfish and a marine beta. I love the marine betas.
Oh, what do they call that thing? It's got an actual name.
I've always known them as the marine betas. I can't remember. You know,
All
Latin
the funny,
names.
weird names they give them.
Yeah, I can't remember that. I can't even pronounce.
Some of them are, man, they just, people are like, oh, why don't you pronounce it by its real name? I am.
Yeah.
The one that I know.
It's like the humma trigger.
Yeah.
Humma ooga nooba shuba dooba 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 dooba. It's like this long. The name of it is like that long.
Yeah, not happening. I don't know. You know, I also just came across some, my local fish store had them. He had 6 Geophagus blazenis.
Blazenis?
Yes.
Never heard of a blazeni.
Bro, they're beautiful.
Blazeni. What
I'll
they look like?
pull it up.
Yeah.
I'll pull a picture of it up real quick.
I actually think that the regular Heckleis, full grown,
Oh,
like,
dude.
I think it's a shame that people don't realize how beautiful them fish, especially being an angelfish keeper, man. There are certain fish that I like, the Heckelei, the flag cichlid, the severums, those jokers look good with angels, and they do real well too. They do really, really well.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, no, I've had those before. Yeah, they're actually like from the lower part of Amazon where the water's cooler. I had those, and the ones that I had if you keep them in cooler water, like turn your heater off. If you turn your heater off, they actually grow and act. They come out more. That they don't like warm water. They don't like warm water at all. They're considered kind of a cooler fish.
Water.
Yeah, they're a cooler water fish. I mean, even 60, man. It's weird. What were they called? Where did I call them? Geophagus. Oh man, it was Blazeni? I don't remember the word Blazeni, but yeah, they had that weird nuchal hump thing. Some of them I've seen the males where they had a really, really odd shape. It's almost like gelatin, like you could see through it a little bit. You know,
Yes.
It's like, yeah, those are cool geos. I've had that. That's why I was like, a geo I've never kept. Let me see. But yeah, they're cool. They do really well in cooler water though, like cooler than what you normally would keep cichlids in. You know,
they're growing pretty nice. They're doing pretty decent. I got them in a 50 right now. I'm waiting for them to get a little bigger because I'm doing a That's not even a secret. My 125 over here that used to be my African cichlid tank is just
Uh-huh.
about to completely shit the bed.
Mhm.
I have basically a male and female German strand yellow Z-Rock. I have a ACI, the Jewel cichlid, and 2 plecos in there. Literally, that's all that's in a 125. So soon, there's going to be some fish that are going to go somewhere else, and that's going to become my South American tank. It's going to end up with my red shoulder Severums in it, those Geos, and probably my Rose lines and the rest of my Blue Acara.
See, that's for me. That's the biggest. Like all the fish you named, the South American cichlids. Like people will ask me, you know, they when they talk about sixes, they say Central South American cichlids, but they say it like together, you know, like
Yes.
like one word. But really, there's a huge difference in the Central and
Massive
South American cichlids. So I like to be a little bit more exact when I say stuff like, you know, where they're from. Like the Central American cichlids, more aggressive. Their bodies are all have the same, well, traditional fish shape. Whereas in the Amazon, because the Amazon is where you have the diversity in shapes, the angels, discus, severums, the peacock bass. You have the pike cichlids. There's so many different shapes. So you can get a cool looking tank with just going South American, you know. Yeah, all those fish in there, their shapes are so odd to each other. You know, they're
Yep.
so like distinct. That's one thing I've always liked about fish is their shapes.
It's going to be a weird looking tank, but it's going to work.
I've always wanted to speak with a physiologist who all they did was specialize on the history of the biology of fish. In that I've always go like, what happened during history, during evolution that made angels give them their shape. So I spend a lot of time when I'm dealing with fish, looking at them and their behavior, where they come from, how they eat, how they breed, you know, what other fishes like where they live, and go, why does that fish look like that? And I've done that a lot with angels. Why do angelfish look like that? Discus is probably the next one that I really try and figure out that, but that'd be when I get to a new house and I can keep them. I've had discus before, but to be honest with you, they bored the heck out of me because they're just so slow moving.
Yes.
Whereas with angels, you know, a little bit more aggressive in their movement. Sometimes, you know, angels are just relaxed moving, but when they really want to do something, they shoot to it. But you know, I really want to have a sit down discussion with a physiologist about angels, and where they was throughout. Like I would love to see if somebody, yeah, we found this angel from 2,000 years ago, and you know, this is what it looked like. I would like to see the differences, you know. I imagine they kind of look more like Leopoldi than anything else. The angelfish Leopoldi, and then from that size, that shape, you know, and they kind of morphed out. Because I've noticed a lot of fish in the Amazon cichlids, they all have like some common thread. For instance, you have the angels breed and eat and live. Like if you can keep angels, you can keep discus, you know, because they breed exactly the same, they eat exactly the same foods, and but they look completely different. You have angelfish, and then you have the flagfish, the festivum, which they both have, you know, where they start getting pointy and diamond shape. The angels came out with a diamond shape, the festivum came out with an arrowhead shape, you know, and then you go on to the
archer fish is like that as well.
Yeah. So it's just I just would always like to find out more about the evolution of different fish species, why it is that they look the way they do. You know, why do they do the way they do? Why are their colors that way? You know.
You doing Aquacella Daytona this year?
I am doing Aquacella Daytona this year. I don't know in what capacity though. I know I'm definitely gonna go there as far as I know I'm definitely gonna go there as far as work goes, because who I work for, Consolidated, I'm gonna be going, in a work capacity. But as far as doing be there as a YouTube person, I don't know. I didn't have a whole lot of how do you say this? Aquashella and me and YouTube is very strange to me, in that you go there as a YouTuber. The first time I went there, we had something to do. They said, okay, here, we're going to go ahead and give you a ticket to come to Aquashella. We're going to give you this cool little thing that says your name on it and all that. We want you to have this discussion at the YouTube area and do this live stream. Cool. I have a reason for being there. Then when I went last year, it was like they gave zero ducks about what we did. We just walked around with a lanyard. That's all we did.
Yeah, I'm gonna go there for my first time. Jesse is screaming to get your attention for some reason.
Yeah, what's up, man? But while we wait for that, so Aquashella is, like I said, the first time I went as a YouTuber, it was great because we had a reason for being there. But other than that, this year there was nothing for us to do. I was like, oh, I'm here. You paid for me to come in. Do you want me to do anything? I don't know if they just wanted us to live stream and promote Aquashella. It was like, hey, I'm at Aquashella, which a lot of people didn't do this year or last year. I mean, even Dallas, I think Vibes was the only one that really walked around that I know of that, live streamed Aquashella. I didn't see any videos saying Aquashella Dallas or whatever. Hey, but other than that, it was.
He did all that just to say hi.
Yeah.
I think he's fanboying a little bit. Oh, this would be my first Aquashella. So
the first one, I think you're gonna have. Have you been to anywhere where there was other fish tubers?
No, this will be the first time.
Well, this would be really cool. Hopefully fish tubers do come out, because I have noticed fish tubers in general have been kind of like, yeah, we've been to Chicago, we've been to Dallas, but hopefully it gets to a point where fish tubers start, making it a big deal again, because it used to be a big deal and not so much anymore. But it's cool seeing all these faces that you've only seen on your
camera.
Phone. Yeah, you've only seen them on your phone, and then you're like, oh, I thought that dude was taller. I didn't realize that guy, this stuff like that. I tell you, a couple people that you really need to meet when you get there, because they'll definitely make your day, is Vibes. Vibes he is exactly the same in person as he is on camera. He's wide open. People seem to think when I go to Aquashella that I'm supposed to have some type of Mardi Gras style intro. I don't know what they think, but they go. In fact, KG Tropicals, John was like, "Oh yeah, I thought you was gonna kind of make a big deal when you came to Aquashella," and I was like, I just don't walk around, like, hey, what's up, you fucking blah, blah, blah. I said, I do have a good time when you talk to me, but I just not gonna walk around, I don't know. It was
very the entire time, yeah.
Yeah, like I'm very much, aware of there's a place and a time. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he was under the impression that I was gonna come in and be rude and rowdy. Not rude. I've never been rude. Vibes is more chill. No, he is not. No, he's not. I mean, he's the same to me. At least he was when I met him in Aquashella in Daytona this year that just passed. He was still doing all that. And hey, you know what? Hey, and then he'd take off, come back with a whole bunch of crap that he got from somebody, and he'd be like, "Yeah, I just got this from so and so." And no. I like Vibes. Who else?
I'm hoping to meet some people, man.
I honestly, and that's what I'm saying. This year is going to be different for me because when I go, it's going to be under a working environment. You know, I'm going to be, you know, hobnobbing and stuff like that with other yeah, hobnobbing. Isn't that what? Isn't that what when you
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, with other suppliers and stuff for my particular job. I'm the sales manager at Consolidated Fish Farms, so you know, I can go either way, but I'd rather go, you know, as Consolidated because I feel like I have something to do. If I don't, I do not stay around. I take off. Ask Fishy Biz. If I go there, just hey, Aquafunk, I'll stand there, I'll look around and be like, all right, I seen it, and I'll leave and then come back. And I just can't be in one place too long with nothing to do. You know?
Slim Tim wants to know a fish you think that should not be in the hobby.
Common Placo. Common Placo.
That's a great answer.
Ban that sucker.
I say the red-tailed catfish unless you have a monster pond with proof.
You know, and I do think there are certain fish that you like. For instance, I've really honestly, if I thought that I could make an impact, I would start some type of movement to make snakeheads legal. But you would have to fill out paperwork and prove that you're an experienced and capable fish keeper. And if at any, and there has to be money involved because if it's free, anybody will try and do it. But if you really want this fish, you have to buy the proper licenses and whatnot, microchip if necessary, if that's what they need, however they want to do it. It doesn't really matter to me how they want to do it. Just like you would a car or a gun or anything like that. I think there has to be some way to a paper trail coming back to you where it keeps you responsible and keeps you what's the word I'm looking for?
Reliable.
Yeah.
Responsible for that fish.
Yeah. I think you should be able to keep certain fish in that situation. And if ever they wanted to be like, hey, we're coming in to do a check, it better be the same fish and it better have the same microchip number. I'm totally okay with that because I do understand the problem with invasive species. But there are also other fish out there like the common Placo, that nobody bats an eye at. It just don't make no sense to me.
That's like here in the Great Lakes, man. People are releasing goldfish.
And to be honest with you, goldfish in the Great Lakes have been more of a problem than snakeheads here in Florida.
Yep.
But you can buy goldfish all day long.
Correct.
That don't make sense to me. But yet they want to make the snakehead illegal. If I thought there was a chance of me getting some type of legislation, I would start a movement. But I really don't think there's any chance. I think people are just, too set in their ways when it comes to that,
That's like I also see, I watched some videos on YouTube about, aquarium fish in a hobby getting released in Florida. Well, the Oscar is another one.
Oscars is big in Florida. Yeah, they're all over the place. They'll sell
one of my favorite fish.
Yeah. The lionfish. You could still buy lionfish here in Florida.
Yeah.
So what are we doing? Why are we, nitpicking on the snakehead that hasn't been an impact? And I guess their idea is, well, if we make it legal, it will definitely be an impact. Okay, I'll give you that one, but make it so that people have to have a little skin in the game when it comes to the fish you keep.
Yeah, you got to lose something, man. I mean,
yeah,
all of us would love to have an Asian arowana.
Yeah. Now, see, the Asian arowana, from what I understand, the reason why they're illegal, this is just, I don't know for sure because I've never been they kind of don't do it for me. But from what I understand, the reason why they're illegal is because of how they're produced is against the humanitarian standards is the reason why they're illegal is because they don't like the way they're bred. But yet we go to Chick-fil-A and McDonald's and just eat the hell out of those chickens and cows You know,
That are
it's just
full of hormones and shit, you know?
it's just weird. You ever been to a chicken farm? You know what I mean? Like
These chickens
or
can't even walk, man. They're just just
yeah,
pumped full of hormones
yeah.
and steroids.
But God forbid they give you get a Asian arowana because of how they're produced. It's like and another thing, the freaking English bulldogs and those dogs with the big heads, whether it be a Boston Terrier, English bulldog,
French
Frenchie,
bulldog.
dude, those mother dogs have hell to go through. You know what I mean? They all like C-sectioned, but for that is okay. You know, I guess it depends on how much money it is. Like if don't take the rich people's dogs away. Hell no. Nah. You know, F those fish people, man. If they want Asian arowana, they could just be happy with the silver one.
I'm not a big arrow fan at all, but I think the Asian arowana is beautiful. It's pretty.
I don't see the reason when we look at the reasons that we say yay or nay to other animals, fish, in any sector of the population, whether it be for food, I just don't see the reasoning how it makes sense why this fish is illegal and this fish is not. Because I could give you a whole bunch of examples on the same exact thing on another species that we keep for pets or we use for, food sources that go through a hell of a lot worse. That's my only thing. It's just if we're gonna do it, let's do it for all of it.
Absolutely.
But we don't. We pick and choose according to what whoever has something to say about it. You want to make Asian arowanas legal. If you fear for how they're being bred or kept or something like that, make them buy the licenses, make them fill out the paperwork, do all that stuff, whatever. I mean, for me to get any reptile here, whether it be a tortoise, anything, or even like salamanders here in Florida, I have to sign a piece of paper at Petco. Just so they have that mentality. They have the ability to do something similar. I don't know why they don't do it with all fish. I get piranha in other parts of the country. What's going to stop me from putting them in a cooler and driving them to Florida? Nothing.
Not a damn thing. It's like man, it's like where I live at, the city I live at. They don't technically say they ban pit bulls, but they would prefer it if you didn't own one. Well, here goes me walking two of them down the street.
Yeah. And even then, because I'm a boxer, I like bully breeds. I like boxers. Even then, I've been chased more by non-pit bulls than pit bulls, and I've been around more pit bulls.
Dude, all they want to do is cuddle.
Yeah. I'm gonna let you know right now, if you ever have a dog around me with any kind of black in its tongue whatsoever, get it away from me. I don't want to be around it. those Shar-Peis and those Chow Chows. Yeah, I don't want to be around them dogs. They vicious. Shoot, I don't even like really being around German Shepherds because I feel like they're scheming. You ever look into the eyes of huh?
They're sitting there judging you is what they're doing.
Yeah. Yes, they're sizing you up. Like I seen it. Like if you look into the eyes of a German Shepherd, you can see him thinking. You know what I mean? That don't make me feel good. I'm like, what you thinking about? You want to fight me, don't you?
Like, I'm gonna take you out. Like, no, if you take me out, you better be prepared. I'm taking you out with me.
My mom used to always want Dalmatians. Apparently, Dalmatians are vicious inbred animals, but they look cute. They got a whole little story and Disney movie about them, so they're good.
One of the most over-purchased pets on the market right now, dude, is a Dalmatian. Still to this day.
Yeah, apparently they're super unhinged because of all the inbreeding that goes on with them.
They have a lot of mental disorders because of that in those dogs.
Yeah, but we don't say nothing because they're cute. Rich people like them, so don't take away the rich people. I kind of have a problem with that with the iguanas. I have a problem with the kill on sight iguana thing down in South Florida because I feel like the main reason why they're illegal is because they dig up rich people's gardens. I can't. They're like, they tearing up the golf courses. Like all the problems that they tell me they have with iguanas is they mess with rich people's property. And in my opinion, and then I would have a serious issue if someone killed an iguana on my because apparently that's totally legal. like if I had an iguana walk across my property, just minding his own business, someone could just kill that iguana on my property in front of my kids, and that's cool. No, I don't want my daughter to see you take a bow and arrow and shoot an iguana in the head while we're out there playing in the slip and slide. No.
Yeah, not happening.
But apparently it's totally cool, you know. So
That'd cause some emotional damage right there, man.
Yeah, so I have a problem with that. And the iguanas another thing. If iguanas are so bad, then how come we can buy them anywhere in the world and anywhere in the country and just drive to Florida? Pythons, you could drive them you could buy them forever and just drive them to Florida. Monitors, you could drive them to Florida.
I think
There's
they
monkeys.
pick and choose. They pick and choose what they want to do.
Yeah. You know there's wild monkeys in Florida?
No.
Somebody let go of a bunch of wild monkeys. I think it was like a storm came and a bunch of monkeys got out. So now there's wild monkeys running around Florida stealing people's stuff, giving people herpes apparently. But it's Florida. I imagine a lot of these people got herpes.
That's fucked up.
It's true. Everywhere else in the world knows it. The whole United States looks at Florida and goes,
What happens in Florida stays in the doctor's office.
Yeah.
It comes with a Valtrex prescription.
Yeah.
So
No doubt.
we'll go back to the Asian arowana. They're talking about people how they don't like them bred. Have you ever watched a stingray breed? It is freaking brutal, dude.
I have not. Dude. How do they breed?
The male will attack the female. Like he literally is biting her and taking chunks out of her disc, dude, until he gets her to submit. I mean, he is basically, dude, forcing himself on this female.
That's real Pepe Le Pew-ish.
Dude, it is terrible. It is violent.
That's real Pepe Le Pew-ish right there.
It is. It's borderline. I mean, honestly, it should have a Me Too movement for him.
Yeah. They need to tell these male arowana no means no.
The male stingray.
No, the male stingrays, yeah. The male stingrays, no means no.
He basically is on top of her and he's biting her until she decides to flip over.
Uh-huh.
So she just submits.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a Law and Order episode waiting to happen. Absolutely. Boom, boom.
This is the tales of how this happened.
Yeah. Mariska Hargitay. What's her name?
Mariska Hargitay.
Mariska Hargitay is on the scene. Yeah. How old is Mariska? This already got to be like 103 years old.
She got to be in her 60s, man.
Nah, I give her more than that. Because we watch Law and we watch the Special Victims Unit, and I'm like, yo, that's a lot. Because her eyes are starting to get synced into her head. You know, when you get older, your eyes kind of sink in.
Mariska Hargitay.
Mariska Hargitay is 60 years old.
60 years old.
Really, I would have gave her more than that. Probably all that makeup and all that stuff that they've been putting on all them years.
Yeah, it really takes its toll on her.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's wild, man. I mean, me and you got to be around the same age. I'm 43. Well, I'll be 43. So we got to be around this thing. Yeah.
I'm 48.
I'm gonna say the gray hair fucks everybody up.
Yeah, I'm 48. I no disrespect, but I would have gave you more than 43. And it's because you got your full gray. I'm still salt and pepper.
I'm losing it.
Salt and pepper.
I'm losing it. Man, you know what, man? I've had a hard life. I've been through a lot.
Uh-huh.
You know, I grew up that hard knock life, basically. Got to do what I had to do to survive. Yeah. That'd be a story for private.
Yeah. There's a whole lot behind that one.
Whole lot behind that one. Hey, look at that. We were just talking about him. Mike Loves Life Aquatics is here.
What he say? In the chat, I was talking smack about you, Mike. I was talking smack all about you.
Oh, man. You know, when we get back into this, we all do this fish hobby, man. We're all kind of doing this together if we think about it, man. We're all trying to figure out how to keep these damn fish alive. We're all basically trying to figure out how we can make the tank look better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, That's the one thing I actually like about this hobby, because I've reached out. I've met a lot of pretty cool people in this. And that's why I'm doing it. It's like I'm inviting people up here. I want to get to know you personally instead of, like through a chat. That's basically what I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because like there's a lot of people that I would never associate with in my life, unless we're talking about fish. Like just personality things and just different. Like the politics is one thing that always like is a real strong to keep. Politics. And religion are two things that is like deal breakers for a lot of people. I know it is for me. As long as I don't know someone's politics or their religious views, we can be cool all the time. But for a long time, if we're just talking about fish and stuff like that, but that's what's weird about this. Like people can come together and just talk about fish, and it's just sometimes, especially this live streaming thing is kind of odd because it starts making what you see a video. Like if you never knew anything about me, you'd be like, oh, that Aquafunk, cool video, whatever, seems kind of cool, and then you get to know me from live streams or something like that, and for whatever reason you have this to say or that to say. Same thing goes for me. I do it to other people too, but that's because we're putting ourselves out there, right? You know what I mean? If it was just fish only, I don't think anybody would have any issues with anybody if it was just fish. But as far as live streaming goes, that's when you start, opening yourself up to judgment from other people or other types of things. Where that's where things get in the way. You know what I mean? That's where things get in the way of a relationship with people, where it was cool when it was just fish, but now I know a little bit more about you, and I don't like this, and I don't like that, and da 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 da. So yeah, this live streaming thing does take away, but it also adds at the same time, because there are certain people that you find out you have way more in common with than you think. Like Mike from Mike Loves Life, Fishy Biz, and even Fathom and all that. Me and Fathom, this me, we talk occasionally on the phone, and we always have good, friendly conversations. And I consider him someone cool in my life. But there's so many differences in us. The way he talks, the way I talk, the way his upbringing background, my upbringing background. So yeah, it's weird. It's weird when it comes to YouTube. Just things are just weird on us. In a social aspect, it's just weird. I love it in a lot of ways, because I love watching people's mannerisms and how they go about the way. If I had another a profession that I'd like to get into, it would be like being one of the sciences where it's a social, like a therapist or something like that, where you're monitoring what people do and how they do it and why they do it. Yeah. So I happen to love some of these live. I watched a live stream yesterday. Completely tripped me out. This dude was out cold sleeping, and it amazed me because he's on live. He was out cold sleeping, but in the background he had a TV with his sub count, and I was sitting there watching his sub count just go broop, 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 just grow and grow and grow and grow. And in my head, I'm like, bro, he's got like 36,000 some subscribers, and I'm watching it just grow.
Just because he's sleeping.
Because he sleeps. So I was like, what is it about him sleeping that makes people go, yes, I want to support this? And that's where I start going like, what, I start thinking, and him being smart enough to be like, I'm going to raise my sub count just by sleeping. Is he producing anything worth value to anybody? No. You know what I mean? And that's his prerogative. He could do it. It's his channel. He could do with it as he please. I didn't sub. I'm not going to sub to you if you're just going to be sleeping up there. But there are people out there that do. And those people amaze the hell out of me. Not the guy sleeping. The people who sub to it amaze me. You know what I mean? He's not being dishonest. He's not lying. He's not saying, I'm this, I'm that. I can give you this. I can give you that. He just knocked the hell out. You know what I mean? And his sub count just steady rising. Yeah, I kind of like it. The Fathom kid is way too cool for me. Well, see, that's because you're from Canada.
What's up, Ritesh?
It's because you're from Canada, Jeff.
Is Jeff from Canada? I thought he was in like Minnesota or something.
No, he lives in Canada. I think it's like Quebec, but like because I think one time I said Quebec, he was like, "No, I'm from Quebec," and I was like, "Excuse me," hit me with a bottle of maple syrup. I was like, "Bro, what's up with all the? I thought you were supposed to be nice up there, y'all violent."
Smacked me with a bottle of maple syrup
Yeah.
and hit me with some Canadian ham.
He said it was gonna be hot.
He's from
'Cause
West Canada.
He's from West. He's from Quebec.
Wisconsin.
He speak that freaky deaky
French
French
Canadian.
is what he speak. He speak that freaky deaky French.
He said, "Happy place agent like LeBron."
What?
Hey, man, the struggle is real. I'm aging like LeBron. I'm 2 years older than him. Hey, man. All the great ones do, I guess.
Not Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson looks the same age.
All
I saw
right,
an
man.
interview. Was somebody leaving?
No. This.
So tell us about your bent fork. My bent. Oh, he's talking about my spirit stick. I don't.
Uh-oh.
No,
We bought
talking about my spirit stick.
we bought
I don't know. It's been passed down through generations and generations in my family from all the shamans and the spirit speaking people. I don't really know how it got there. Sometimes things just appear when I'm asleep. It's the spirits bring and I don't know. I can't tell you. It's tradition, I guess. I don't know.
What is
I don't
the meaning behind the rubber dinosaur? That's on
Again, I have no idea. I don't. This was passed down to me. I found it in a box because it was making noises. It was doom 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 doom. It was after my grandmother died. She was into Santeria and she passed away. And then I kept hearing this thumping noises. And then I opened it up and it was this. This was in there along with the voodoo doll, and then I just felt the spirits take over me to where, now I'm 0.00% 0.0099% psychic. This is when I guess her energy came on to me. I don't know. I wish I could tell you. It's a
He said
curse.
some toenail clippers. J-Rock is talking about your toenail clippers on there. If they're small, man, they fingernail clippers. There's a difference.
You talking about me?
Yeah, those fingernail clippers.
Yeah, see, I don't know, bro. I wish I could tell you. I really wish I could tell you. It's as much a mystery to me as it is to you.
Is that a Barbie head?
I just do what the spirits tell me. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
Yeah, I just do what the spirits tell me. So yeah, I'm a slave to this. I have no. It's like I said, it's a curse.
I understand.
I don't want this power. You know what I mean?
It was
But
bestowed
I have it.
on you.
Yeah, but I have it. So, I gotta do what I gotta do.
Completely understand. I got my road dog with me, my partner in crime. He's right here with me every live stream.
Who that? Is that Chihuahua?
That's Chico.
Chico.
That's Chico.
See? You got Chico, I got the spirit stick and the voodoo doll. It's a voodoo mermaid doll.
Uh-oh.
But yeah. In fact, the other day I woke up and he had a black cat on him. Like just stuff gets put on to these things when I'm asleep. Like kind of like the elf on the shelf. You know?
I got bitch in a tank. You got elf on the shelf, I got bitch in the tank. Dead serious, bro. Bitch in a tank.
Who's that? I can't see. Is that Oscar?
Yeah, Let me get my camera to function and move around here. Hopefully, I don't unplug the damn thing.
Put yourself on the widescreen. Let's see that sucker on the widescreen. See now that Fishy Biz hates Oscars, right? He says when they get big, they look old and decrepit. And I got theories. Behind that. Theory one. I think a lot of the Oscars that he's looking at one point had hole in the head disease.
Yes.
Because a lot of Oscars has suffered not every Oscar, but a lot of Oscars suffer from hole in the head disease. And once it heals up, it just leaves nasty scarring. Two is, I think a lot of them at one point were in tanks that were way too small. So they do look like they have been,
Mystery.
Yeah. And my third one is, and that's why, because he don't like their bulging eyes. But my third one is, I do believe Oscars, in a lot of cases, when they get that big, because people like to feed them so much, are overweight. But yours does not look like that. Is what I'm getting at. You know what I mean? Yours looks, like the body is not stunted. The fins are not tattered. It doesn't have that little bent, like hunched over thing. And it doesn't look overweight.
I feed my fish Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday.
Yep.
I've got another Oscar down here. It's hiding at the current moment. It's actually right here, mean mugging me. I've got two more back here. I've got an albino and I've got a monster tiger Oscar. He's every bit of 13 inches long.
Yeah. I had a large red tiger. Well, I had a albino tiger Oscar veil tail. And she was real pretty. And I say she, I wasn't sure if she was a she yet because of the whole veil tail thing. I really couldn't tell. But my wife felt a little certain type of way because she jumped out of the tank. And I found her like 20 feet away from the tank, dried up because she had jumped out overnight, and we had carpet and it was all dried up and fuzzy.
Yeah, that's terrible, man. I had another one that was actually in her tank before her that it committed suicide, basically. I guess it got spooked. It hit one corner of the tank, knocked the lid off of a 75, and a 75-gallon lid isn't light.
No.
I mean, when I found the fish, it was bent in a U.
I also have a theory about fish jumping out of tanks in the middle of nights. And I'm not 100% on this. I just made my own observation. A lot of times people will have some type of light in their fish room somewhere, even at night. You'll see some type of a light. I'm curious if they're not seeing a bug on the top of the tank. I don't really know how, and they're just like going full balls to the wall trying to jump out, because that's what I think happened to my Oscar. I truly do believe that it was because like when people have a lot of fish, sometimes you'll find you'll see like gnats and stuff in the air.
Yeah.
And it was from all that humidity. There's plants you got growing out of the tank. There's food sources at the rim of the tank, along the edge of the tank. And I think, that Oscars or other fish will see that and attempt to get it. So they go full balls to the wall because they know that there's a lid there. They know, but they still try anyway. So what would cause them to try? Something they wanted.
Wanted the same thing. I've had a couple of fish jump out. I've had electric blue acara jump out of the tank.
Yeah, I had. You know what? One fish that I really want to keep in the future that I have unsuccessfully kept, two of them actually, and I want to keep them in the same tank, but I want to have a tank set up properly for them, is the rope fish and the African butterfly fish. I have yet to be able to keep them fish in the tank. the African butterfly, the reason why I've lost African butterflies because when I was keeping them, I had hang on the back filters and that little cutout. Well, same for
Yes.
the ropefish. They would go out that little cutout. Like they would jump and try and get, or if you lift up the tank lid and you try and do something in the tank, they'll jump out and get behind the tank. And I remember I used to put tanks in places where I wouldn't be able to get behind the tank. So now, you know, as with more experience, I always try and leave myself some room to get stuff from behind the tank when I can. Because the African butterflies, I've lost a lot of African butterflies from me putting my hands in the tank or them trying to jump out that little crack. Ropefish, yeah, that's just a. But anyway, I want like a low boy with skirts, plexiglass skirts going up so that they can do their jumping thing and not fall out of the tank.
That might work.
Yeah.
I've
I'd
got
be able to-
I've got a theory on fishing escaping of tanks.
Well,
They're doing it like an episode of Prison Break, man.
that they like on Finding Nemo.
Yeah, they think they're getting out.
They really trying. They're like, I mean, I don't know. They wouldn't be that smart if they didn't have a plan. Like, okay, I'm gonna get out, and then what? You know what I mean? At least in Finding Nemo, he had a plan. They was gonna go down the toilet. Was it the toilet?
I think it was
Oh,
the
no,
sink.
the sink or something like that, or climb off of the cliff into the sewer. Funk, they didn't like your tank. My rope fish are in.
In a no-top tank.
Well, your rope fish aren't that bright then. I'm just letting you know. You got some very short butts rope fish. Because every rope fish in the world attempts to, your rope fish have been institutionalized. You got some institutionalized rope fish where they don't want to be on the outside.
They think life is better on the inside.
Yeah, they're a bunch of just lazy, want to live off the system rope fish. You know? I bet you if you
Right.
ever let your rope fish go, they'll take a brick and break a window just to get put back
Just
in.
get back in. Yep.
Yeah.
They'll go commit a crime just so they can get back.
Yeah, especially during the wintertime. That's the best time to do it. Because it's cold outside.
Absolutely. Oh, it is here. I know that, man. When it gets cold here, I'm ready to leave.
Yeah, 3 hots and a cot.
Man, I'm in Northeast Ohio. It's cold as shit up here.
See, if I was ever going to be homeless, Florida is where you need to be homeless at. All you need is a tent and a fishing rod, and you're good. Because there's so many dang dude. The tilapia out here grow big. They grow big. You know,
Yeah. What the fuck? Come on.
And they're easy to catch. You know, it's not like when they're spawning, they don't really want to get off their nest. But when they're not spawning, you know,
They're everywhere.
they're not shy about taking a hook.
I've noticed that about a lot of fish. It's the same thing here with we have freshwater drum. When they're spawning, you can't catch them, but when they're not, it's over with, man. Freshwater drum is basically, we call them sheephead. They're ugly
Oh,
fish.
you got sheephead?
Yeah.
Sheepheads are cool. I don't know about freshwater, but I know the saltwater sheephead are cool. They look like they got human dentures in their mouth. I swear to God, the first time I saw one, I just couldn't help myself. I mean, okay, so there's certain fish that I can't help myself laughing, and certain fish I don't like to look at. The saltwater sheephead, I can't help but laugh. The white lip, the African, the blue with the when they're in breeding mode,
Yeah.
because the females get big, they're almost reddish. And it's so comical because it looks like somebody drew a cartoon picture of lips and put them, and I can't help but laugh. And there are other fish that I don't like to look at because I feel uncomfortable. I don't like male bristlenose catfish. They're just gross to me. And blood parrot cichlids. They just, I don't like to look at them. They make me feel uncomfortable.
The blood parrot cichlid reminds me of the baby Grinch.
You know what it reminds me of? If you look at the blood parrot cichlid's face, it reminds me of a unit, a member. It's just the head of it.
I will never look at the 4 parrot cichlids I have again to say.
It's got the lips are always like almost up and down. Look at it. It's,
I know.
yeah, and I'm always like, oh, don't look me straight in the eye because I feel like it's just gross.
I
They
will
should,
never
you know what? They should be illegal too, just because they make me feel uncomfortable.
I will never look at my parents.
Yeah,
I'm gonna start calling them dickheads.
yeah, that's what they look like to me. I remember 20 years ago, well, 24 years ago, when they first came out, and they was at my pet store, and I was like, why do they look like that? Like, why do people want these fish? They look like penises. Like, that's just.
I don't like the flower horn, dude. I really don't.
Flower horns don't bother me.
Like a big nutsack on their head, bro.
Yeah, it is pretty bad. I think flower horns are funny because I think people just like saying the KOK. You know what I mean? They just like saying, I'll call it a nuchal hump, you know, but you'll never really. I just. You ever been on a live stream where they just said it back to back to back? Yeah, and but they would say the word, they wouldn't say the KOK, and I'm like, you just want to say the word at this point. You're just trying to be, you know.
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the nuchal hump. No, you're not. No, you're not, because you can say nuchal hump, you can say the KOK, you can say all kinds of stuff, but you keep saying the C word. I wonder what that's about.
Dude, I went to my local fish store and he had a little baby flower horn somebody traded in.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it was beat up, dude. Its side had a hole in it. I mean, he was tore up. His fins were ripped. He's like, man, nobody's gonna buy this off me. He's like, you want to see if you can heal it up? I'm like, all right, I got a tank I can put it in. So I moved some things around and I put this thing in the tank, man. And I mean, literally started treating it with just fresh water, like clean water and salt. Bam. That thing is beautiful, dude. Healed up nicely. Beautiful.
The biggest problem I have with flower horns, which I don't have a problem. I don't dislike flower horns. I mean, if you ever seen somebody have a flower horn that they took care of, you know, they have a whole lot of personality. I got a female flower horn right now, a red dragon one. She doesn't have a nuchal hump, but her color is like crazy. But the problem I have is I've never seen somebody successfully cure a flower horn that has gotten an injury to the nuchal hump. Every injury I've ever seen to a flower horn's nuchal hump ended in infection and death. And I think that's a huge. I think if you were to ask me, well, do you think humans should be making this fish? I would say no. Even though I like the fish, I would say no, because why would you purposely make a fish with such a huge liability and make that liability the whole selling point? You know, like, oh, look how big the nuchal hump is. Yeah, so that's why you can't have a flower horn in with decorations, because if it tries to get into a cave, it cracks it, it splits it open, and it's. I think somebody I met said they did heal one time, but it took them a lot of money to do it. It took them a lot of money to do it. A lot of money to get that fish back to health. But me personally, every single flower horn I've seen to get an injured nuchal hump ended in infection and death. So I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about flower horns. I like them. I just wish they didn't have such a serious design flaw. You know,
it's the same thing with the Aranda goldfish.
Bro, I can't even start to talk about those goldfish. The celestial eyes, the bubble eyes. You ever seen a bubble eye popped? It's just it's just a flap of skin just flapping around in the water. I'm like, and now it's uneven because it's got one side floating, and I was like, that's terrible. That's terrible.
They're abused fish. They are one of the most abused fish in the hobby. It's just a goldfish in general.
Bro, there's this one goldfish, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the Aranda, which is the one where it's pretty much it don't have no dorsal fin. It just has the two little fins in the bottom, the two little pectoral fins, and a tail and a head.
A ranchu.
Was that it? Yeah. Dude, you ever seen one of those try and swim? They have so much trouble, man.
I have one.
I feel so bad for them.
Yeah.
You know,
he's like pretty decent.
they're just struggling. Everywhere they go, it's like I feel like they're struggling.
He's got T-Rex syndrome. He's like,
but
baby has ours.
There's a lot of goldfish that I feel that when I look at them swim, I just feel them struggling. That's come I normally tell people not to put them in with other fish because all the other fish are so much faster. But I say that being a Central American fish keeper, or you know, I like the fish that would definitely outcompete that fish for food. Like all my fish that I like would definitely eat up all the food before that goldfish could.
I got a fish that I threw in that goldfish pond. They'd all be food.
What is it?
It's my jaguar.
Oh, you got a jag? Yeah,
I do. He's about to get a new home.
Oh yeah.
He's going to get an upgrade from a 55 to a 150.
There you go. I want a Cuban. I want a beanie eye is what I want. I want a beanie eye.
I want to pack a piranha. I would love to put those piranha in that 300-gallon tank I have.
Those jokers get stocky. Like I think people think piranha generally look like, and I guess they do in the wild. In the wild, piranha look like aggressive silver dollars, but all the ones I've seen in some people's tank, they look very beefy. I don't know. Is it that people hobbyists feed them more? I don't know, but they look real beefy and stocky. They don't necessarily look so dainty.
I think people overfeed those just for the fact that they want to watch them tear something up.
Yeah, because like I said, even pacus, you think of in the wild that they're slim and tall like a silver dollar, but then you see them in people's houses and they look like the pit bulls that people Americanize these pit bulls to be all like this. That's what they look like to me. They look very wide.
One question that somebody put in the chat is that where's that hat available at?
Okay, so this hat, I do have merch that is available. I have been terrible at promoting my merch on my video. I've just started doing it. I have a link to merchandise, which you could also get the shirt and a couple of other designs. On my videos, there is a link for merch. I've been terrible at promoting it, and I need to do better at it because I know a lot of people have asked me about it. But you can go to my last video. I haven't even put it on my live streams description. In the description section, you have all my links to the stuff I have, and the merch is on there. So yeah. Now I have to be 100% up front whenever I talk about my merch because I do have the autism logo on there. As of now, if you buy my merch with the autism logo, I do not donate any of the proceeds to an autism foundation as of yet. And the reason why is because I'm just now starting out the merch. So, trying to figure all that out right now, it's not really doing anything. But later on, once, if the merch becomes a thing, if it does, which to be honest with you, at this level of my YouTube, my subscribers, a lot of people aren't really into getting individual merch. Most people give away merch more than they make on selling merch, unless you're a big like Corey or King of DIY or whatever. You know what I mean? But at the smaller levels, sub levels, you really end up giving away more than you make. And that's one of the other reasons why I don't even bother. But one day I would like to get to a point where I can, donate to Autism Foundation But I don't want you to buy this thing thinking that you did something good for autism other than making it awareness. If somebody says, "Oh, that's a cool hat," then you could go into the whole autism thing. But I don't want to put that out there thinking that I'm donating proceeds to any foundation right now. So I just feel that's important for people to know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Last question.
All right, get to me.
iPhone or Android?
Android. 100% Android. I think I haven't had issues with my Android. Like, I just don't understand the whole iPhone thing other than it's got a Apple on it. I can do everything an iPhone can do. I get more stuff for free. I don't have to beg people for specific chargers and whatnot. I don't understand how people got sucked into the whole Apple thing and, oh, well, we're better because we have Apples. Well, yeah, you got to go through a whole lot more and spend a whole lot more to do the same thing I do. So definitely Android.
I'm team Apple just to the fact of the security of it's hard as hell to hack or breach.
Man, I ain't got nothing that anybody wants to, like, hey, you can have both dollars in my bank account. Both of them.
Hold on, you got dollars?
If you want to, if you're going to go through all of that issue trying to get into my information, then you deserve both those dollars.
He said both.
And take my bad credit too. Take it all.
I definitely got bad credit, man. I'm living in my credit.
Yeah.
And my wife is driving the other half of my credit. So
oh,
I understand that.
Yeah.
You know, it's a damn shame, man. We work and work and work to. This is how I figure. So you figure you work the typical man works, you know, we'll say 40 to 60 hours a week. You come home, you're probably home 3 or 4 hours, then you got to take a shower, go to bed. You're spending probably on average 15 hours a day in a house that you pay an ass load of money for a week.
Yeah.
And you're asleep for the rest of the time. I mean,
yeah.
You got to work until you're damn near dead.
Well,
I mean, I tell everybody I got to work until lunchtime the day of my funeral, man.
I still don't understand. Honestly, I don't understand. And I do understand how it got this way. Some politician got their little palms greased up real nice over the years to make credit the most important thing in the world. To the point where if you're responsible and don't buy stuff unless you can pay for it outright, you're actually looked down on. Like some politician got paid. How did this become a thing and nobody say anything? I have no freaking clue. You know, that's how you know these politicians ain't really caring about what we say, because every person I've ever met has said the same thing. Like credit, the whole credit system sucks. It's just all it does is hurt you. But nothing ever gets done about it because somebody has to be purposely not doing it or working to keep it the way it is, or both.
I agree.
Where are the politicians on that?
I would like to know how in the hell you can get a job as a politician. You go in making like $40,000 to $50,000 a year and come out a millionaire.
Dude, they have this thing where they have politicians when they go on business trip. I was just watching it. And these jokers can deduct, they can claim personal reimbursement with zero evidence that they use it. Like, you know, like you at your job, you're like, hey, I had to buy gas for the truck. Here's the receipt. No, these politicians just have to be like, yeah, and I spent $20,000 on this. Here you go. Reimbursement. Zero accountability. That's because these sons of Mitches are making up their own rules. They give themselves pay raises. They were like, okay, we need to make a rule on ourselves. Okay, we don't need to do that. Everybody in favor of giving ourselves reimbursement on stuff that we don't even need to have proof for, say aye. You get, oh, aye. You know, if somebody brings up, hey, maybe we should have proof of some of this. No. Nowhere in the world can you regulate. Anybody should be able to regulate them own selves, whether it be pay raises, reimbursements, any of that stuff, you know?
Yeah, it took me 5 years to get where I'm at my job.
It's just
Now,
ridiculous.
now I run that joint.
Yeah, you want to get rich in this country, you got to be outlandish and become a politician. That's the two things. Now it's outlandish first, and then you get a following so that they vote you in to be a politician.
It's all based on lies. It's like a popularity contest, man, in high school.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a whole different. That's that's why I don't like talking about politics. I get really animated. You know, I get really like pissed off.
I get it.
That and religion, you'll get me really pissed off. To where I lose my coolness. You know, a lot of people kind of like my live streams. You know, trolls come in. I keep my cool with all that. You know, take it in stride, laugh at it. When people say something good, a good dig at me, like if a troll really has something funny to say about me, I'll laugh at it. But when it comes to politics and religion, I'll get angry. You know, so I stay away from those. So I definitely lose my cool.
Like I tell everybody, I believe there's a God. I just don't have a religion. I just don't have a long distance carrier to get me to it. I'm the long distance carrier.
Yeah, no, I get you. I feel you. I'm in your camp.
Absolutely.
I would talk more about it, but like I said, I lose my cool.
I understand. So hang tight for a second, guys. That is going to conclude this live stream. I appreciate you being here, Funk. It's nice to meet you.
You too, man.
To know a little bit about you. Everybody, thank you for being here. Got anything to say before we end this?
I do not have anything to say. I apologize. I should say something witty, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
I literally just farted. Just farted just now. That's pretty much all I got for you.
Perfect. All right, guys. Remember, it's your hobby. Do it your way.
It smelled hot.